When people prepare for an oral presentation, whether it be an individual, pair, or group, they often overlook or even forget entirely to prepare the all-important question and answer session, or Q&A.
What they fail to realize is that no matter how well your main presentation went, if you cannot answer a question about it, then you will lose all credibility, since when you step onto a stage, you're saying to the audience, "I know what I'm talking about."
So today, we're going to provide you with the tips to help you prepare for the Q&A session, as well as some pointers when it comes to answering questions from the audience.
Okay, the first thing to remember is that you need to spend as much time preparing for the Q&A as you do your main speech.
In fact, you can guesstimate almost 75% of the questions that you may be asked at the end of your speech. How?
Well, since most speeches are limited in length or time, you cannot fit all the information into it. Thus, there will always be some gaps.
When you finish writing your main speech, go over it. Preferably, you'll have a friend look at it too. But rather than looking at what you've said, think about what you haven't.
Use the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why, and how to question parts of your speech where these gaps occur.
Then, write out questions and, of course, the answers to them.
The audience may want to know more about something that you said, so elaboration may be needed. Or they may want to know your source or some more data.
There may be more general questions about your presentation. For example, why you decided on your topic or any difficulties you may have encountered researching it.
In addition, there may be some people in the audience who are of differing opinions and may wish to challenge you, especially if your topic is a persuasive or argumentative one.
The way you respond to questions can make or break your credibility as a presenter, so don't let yourself be caught off guard. Even though the questions you'll get may be unpredictable, there are many things you can do to prepare.
Techniques for fielding questions. The job of tackling questions can be challenging for a speaker. The following tips will help you sound and look professional as you take questions from your audience.
Answer the question being asked. Sometimes speakers look foolish because they answer the question they anticipated rather than the question really being posed. Listen carefully to make sure you get the gist of the question before you start answering. If you're unsure of what was asked, clarify by paraphrasing. For example, "So, what you're asking is," or asking them to rephrase it.
Make sure to credit the person who asked the question. "Thank you for your question," or "That's a great question." But make sure to vary them and not repeat the same phrase over and over again.
Repeat the question so that the entire audience can hear. If there's any doubt that everyone can hear the question being asked, be sure to repeat it. When everyone can hear the questioner, repeat only those questions that need to be simplified. Answer each part of compound questions separately. If questions are layered one upon another, respond to each question separately.
Respond to the question clearly and concisely. If you do not know the answer, do not make one up or lie. If you're presenting in pairs or a group, check with your team members. Maybe they have a response. If no one can answer it, then be honest and tell them. You don't have that information on hand, but we'll get them the answer after the presentation.
Think of each answer as a tiny speech. When answering a question, use an introduction, main points, and a conclusion. Whenever your answer is multi-layered, this will help you keep on track.
Make sure you first look at the person who asked you the question when responding, but then include the rest of the audience in your answer. Finally, when you're finished answering, end up by looking back to the original person.
Bridge to the next question by asking them, "Does that answer your question?" But also allow for other members to add or elaborate on your initial answer. For example, "Does anyone want to add anything?"
How to improve your answering skills. To increase your ability to be quick on your feet when answering questions, use this technique to practice with a partner or friend or work on your own. First, find a list of questions on the internet or get a book of questions for which there are no right answers.
Choose some questions at random without thinking about them in advance. Take only 1 minute to prepare your answer and then speak for 2 minutes. Ask your friend to tell you when 2 minutes have elapsed or set a timer.
Practice these things. Answering in the format of an introduction, body with 3 main points, and a conclusion that ties back to the introduction. rephrasing the question, using humor, saying I don't know in a variety of ways, and being concise.
That's all for now. Thank you.